Countdown to Kickoff is supported by and brought to you by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental, and by Craig International, a truly global company with 10 offices strategically placed around the world. The future of global procurement is right here. Next up for the Dons, we're at home. It's Scottish Cup weekend and we welcome League Two side Bonnyrigg Rose to Pittodrie. Kick-off in Aberdeen is at 3 o'clock UK time. It's the fifth round of the Scottish Cup. Hi everybody, a very warm welcome to Ali Beg ABTV. How are you doing here on YouTube? So this is the preview show ahead of the Bonnyrigg Rose game on Saturday. So do not leave any comments underneath the video. What I've asked you to do is leave your comments on my social media pages, which you've done. So a little bit later, I'll be reading out all your thoughts and your comments ahead of our Scottish Cup tie against Bonnyrigg Rose. I've also got a very special guest on the show, a former Scottish Cup winner 2 times over with Aberdeen, Billy Stark. Billy is here to talk about the game, his thoughts on the appointment of Neil Warnock, and also he's going to reminisce about his own experiences with Aberdeen in the Scottish Cup. But what we'll do is we'll get through all the housekeeping first of all before we hear from Billy, and then we'll also get to your thoughts and your comments a little bit later as well. So if you enjoyed today's show, please press that like button. It just helps massively with the algorithm here on YouTube. And as I've said before, 72% of you who watch this show haven't actually subscribed to the channel yet. So if you wouldn't mind subscribing, I'd be very grateful for that. We're now edging towards 3,200 subscribers. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you want to get notifications about when shows air, just press the bell button and then you'll get notifications whenever shows air on ABTV. Right, so to start with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and predict the old team news ahead of the game on Saturday. So tell me what you think after the show airs. Okay, here we go. So, as much as I've championed, well, that's not quite the right phrase. I'm not championing him to be dropped, but I think Kelly needs a spell on the bench, but I just can't see it happening. So I think Kelly will retain his place in goal. Then I think he'll play a back four, same as what he did at Ibrox. So Jack, Richard, Stefan and Nicky to play across the back four. I've gone with him to start with Killian Phillips, because I thought Killian was very impressive when he came on against Rangers and offered that little bit more physicality. So I've got a feeling that he might just play in the hole in front of Shinza, Connor and James. And then up top, I'm hoping he's going to play 2. So Esther and Bojan Majowski. So that's roughly what I'm thinking when it comes to the team prediction. Neil Warnock has had his say. If the attitude is like what it was the other night, there are no excuses for it not being like that. Then you hope your ability takes you through. We have worked on a couple of bits over the past few days. I do like to have a go at teams, whoever they are. We have 1 or 2 little knocks. He was talking about the team news in the presser. We have a decent squad. I might make a couple of changes. I will have a look this morning at what 1 or 2 of the lads are like and come up with something. So that was Neil speaking in the press conference earlier today. So it will be very interesting to see if he does make the changes. As I said, against Rangers, I thought that when Killian came on, I thought we looked a lot more physical. I also thought when Dante came on, we looked more physical. So there could be an argument that maybe Leighton Clarkson and Connor both drop out for Killian and Dante. But I think he'll keep Connor in there because I think Connor is playing very, very well at the moment. He's being very creative. Leighton, for me, at the moment, as much as there's plenty of endeavour, I just think the game is slightly passing him by. And I felt that against Rangers, that the game kind of passed him by. I thought he did okay. I thought he did just fine. But I just think Killian might be able to offer us a little bit more, particularly for a game like this, where Bonnyrigg are going to come here. They have absolutely nothing to lose. It's a free ticket for them. And I do think that they will be physical against us. Right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to hear from former Aberdeen midfielder Billy Stark. So, as I mentioned earlier, we had a really nice chat. Now, what day did we speak? We spoke a couple of days ago. I based myself in my kitchen. Billy was at home as well. So obviously Billy is away with Scotland duty this weekend, hence why we caught up earlier in the week. So please welcome to ABTV former Dons midfielder, Billy Stark. Hi Billy, it's lovely to see you. Thank you so much for jumping on. A very good morning to you. Right, first of all, before we chat the Scottish Cup, I'd like to ask you for your thoughts on the appointment of Neil Warnock. What did you make of it?
It's a sort of left field appointment. I know there was a certain degree of expectancy that he was going to be brought in. So I think his track record sort of speaks for itself in terms of coming in during the season and getting a response from the players. So I think that's been uppermost in the director's mind to bring him in. So it will certainly be colourful.
Right, the Scottish Cup. So for me personally speaking, our season starts on Saturday. And these games do have the potential, and forgive the old football cliche, to be a banana skin. But I think we should have enough in our locker to be able to get through this one without too much problems.
I think we can be thankful that we're at home.
Yeah.
That's a big factor. Going to found out at Darvel last season. So I think the home factor is a big thing, and it should prove to be too much for Bonnyrigg. I think it will be a comfortable victory, to be honest, Ali. But as you say, the season starts now. Neil Warnock's already put himself under a wee bit of pressure, saying that he would like to win a cup. That's something that in Aberdeen's history, the Scottish Cup's great affection, held in great affection at Pittodrie. So hopefully they can get a run going.
Just out of interest, obviously, he got kind of thrown in at the deep end last night because he really wanted to be in charge for the game last night. So he only had, a few hours being able to observe the boys in training. But now he's going to get a few more days. Will we now see what will be a typical Neil Warnock side come Saturday? Or do you think it'll still be a bit of a working process?
Well, I think part of his skill set is that he can evaluate players very quickly.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to hear that his first training sessions normally get the shin pads on and get stuck in, and you can see who'll go into tackles, who'll head the ball and all that type of thing. So he's definitely old school. And how the players respond to that will tell the tale, to be honest with you. I think it's been proven that the vast majority do, and the ones that don't won't be playing, I don't think. So I think, as I say, it'll be colourful, and he'll bring his own stamp to it, that's for sure.
Right, let's talk about your own memories of the Scottish Cup. One or two nice memories from down the years.
I was just thinking of that before I come on, Ali. Yeah, obviously 4 campaigns in my time there, so lucky enough to win it twice. But the first one was 83, 84 against Celtic, and I was pretty fortunate. It was my first season at Aberdeen, and I had been injured from the October. What turned out to be a hip problem, and came back to play in April, and Fergie put me on the bench for the cup final at the expense of some top players. I think John Hewitt missed out as well, so I was really grateful for that, and was able to come on at the end of normal time and play extra time and hopefully win the cup, and obviously get my first senior medal.
My late dad, always said that your diving header against Hearts was the greatest ever Aberdeen goal that he saw live. Just before we talk about the goal, can I ask you about the mind games that Sir Alex played ahead of that game? Did you take part in that when he asked you guys to go up to the Hearts players and say, "Oh, bad luck for last week"?
Yeah, well, I mean, as you would know, it's a small goldfish bowl Scottish football, so you know the players, and that would be the sort of tack that he had said to take. That get that in. Not normally at cup finals, you would go out onto the pitch an hour and a half or so before the game, and the other team would be there as well. So you would mingle a wee bit, and we were able to drop that in. But whether that played a telling part, I'm not so sure. But I think the quality of players and the defensive structure that we had certainly sort of was the overall factor in terms of winning the game.
What's your memories of your goal?
Well, first of all, the sort of way I look at it is I had played the whole season. It was a pretty good season for me in terms of the league campaign as well. But even in the Scottish Cup, I scored a few goals. Scored the first goal at Dens in the
Mm.
semi-final against Hibs. But unfortunately, I pulled my calf in that game, so I was out for the following weeks. Came back just a couple of weeks before the cup final. Played down at Clydebank, scored, and obviously thought I would start in the cup final. But Fergie had other ideas, so I missed out. I was on the bench, but the way I look at it, obviously I was able to come on and score a goal, and should have had a hat trick. Actually, I had a disallowed goal,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
really good disallowed goal, and another couple of chances that I should have scored with. So it sort of balanced itself out. I was lucky to get my first medal, maybe a wee bit unlucky to miss out and starting, but it worked out perfectly in terms of coming on and contributing.
Did you keep your shirt and have you still got your medal from that game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think, uh, contrary to what you see nowadays in terms of players swapping shirts or giving them to people in the crowd after every game, they were gold dust in our day,
Yeah.
especially cup final jerseys. We weren't allowed to swap shirts apart from European games and cup finals, but obviously cup finals you kept your shirt. So I've got that and obviously the medal to go with it.
Fantastic. Billy, thank you so much for jumping on. It's lovely to see you as always. And good luck at the weekend with Scotland.
Thanks, Ali. Nice to see you.
And you, take care.
Bye bye.
Bye. My thanks to Billy Stark. How good, by the way, was Billy Stark for Aberdeen? It's something that I've always remembered from particularly my teenage years. The amount of stick that he used to get, and I could never understand it. I thought he was a hugely underrated player. Now, considering he was brought in to fill the boots of Gordon Strachan and very quickly was able to do that. I could never understand the amount of stick that he used to get. He's an amazing man. And a quick story for you. So you see so this is the Cup Winners' Cup tracksuit, official club tracksuit, and it belonged to Sir Alex Ferguson. So the story behind it and to why I've got it now is that when Billy joined Aberdeen, Sir Alex gave him that tracksuit because he wanted him to feel part of the team that had just accomplished what they had done. So many years ago when I was working at Setanta, Billy used to be a frequent guest of mine, and he came in one afternoon ahead of the show, and he had a Marks and Spencer's bag with him. And Jim Craig and I were kidding on that he was doing his messages for Mrs. Stark before he got himself home after the show. And he handed me the bag, and I opened it up, and I swear to you, it took me 1 or 2 seconds to compute what was actually in this bag. And he said to me, "I want you to have it." And I at first I refused. I thought, "I can't take this. This is too precious. This belongs to you." And he said, "No, no." He said, "It's collecting dust in my loft." He told me the story of why he's got it. And he said to me, "I know that it would be much more treasured by you than it is for me at the moment because it just collects dust." So he gave it to me. The tracksuit bottoms are actually at home. And so, yeah, hence why I've got Sir Alex Ferguson's official Cup Winners' Cup club tracksuit. Probably outside my wife and my children, my most prized possession. So Billy Stark, in my eyes, an absolute legend of a guy. Right, let's bring you the match stats. So as we know, Aberdeen have not won the Scottish Cup since 1990, and the last time we competed in a final was back in season 2016-17. Bonnyrigg are undefeated in 7 games. The Rose are currently on a run of 5 games unbeaten. Bonnyrigg Rose are competing in the 5th round of the Scottish Cup for the first time in their history. And the referee tomorrow is Matthew McDermott. On VAR is Chris Graham. Right, a couple of other bits and pieces to tell you about Bonnyrigg. So they're managed by a guy called Robbie Horn, who played over 200 lower league games during the 90s. He's been in charge of the Rose since 2018, where he helped them win promotion to League Two from the Lowland League in 2022. They've got some interesting former notable players. Jim Hermiston, Aberdeen legend, used to play for Bonnyrigg, as did former Aberdeen assistant manager to Sir Alex Pat Stanton. And I bet you didn't know this, and I must admit it caught me by surprise when I discovered this. Former James Bond actor, the late Sean Connery, used to play for Bonnyrigg Rose. Go figure. I couldn't believe it when I read that this morning. If you can't get to the game at Pittodrie, Dolly Digital's front cover of the programme is a little bit retro and looking absolutely marvellous, as it always does. So Dolly has gone a little bit retro for the programme for the Scottish Cup tie against Bonnyrigg. If you are going to the game, here's your weather forecast. So they're expecting some drizzle with moderate winds. At kick-off, the temperature will be 6 degrees. The low could reach as low as 4 degrees. So that is your weather forecast. So as always, wrap up, keep yourselves warm. Right, I'm just going to bring in the last 2 items that I want to show you before we finish off, or before we get to your comments. Oh yes, where is that? Okay, that, and then that'll do. That's all we need. In fact, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do that right now. So, on this day, the 9th of February, back in 1963, Cup Winners' Cup hero John Hewitt was born. John played 363 games for the Dons, scoring 90 goals. He celebrates his 61st birthday today. And another one of our Gothenburg legends. In 1957, former midfielder Gordon Strachan was born. Gordon played 292 games for the club, scoring a very impressive 89 goals. Gordon celebrates his 67th birthday today. 2 absolute legends of the football club. Right, as promised, need my glasses for this. Let's now get to your comments and see what you've got to say ahead of the game against Bonnyrigg. Right, we'll start with the old X. Okay, so Slochy Dave. Hope I've got that right now. Thank you for letting me know how it was pronounced. Was it down here somewhere? Yes. Okay. So he says, hopefully, a really positive performance which sees Duke, Palvara and Phillips come in, and also maybe Duhan. He is predicting a 4-0 win for Neil Warnock's first home game. Let's get this cup run going. Stand free. Thank you, mate. Right, let's get to your Facebook comments. Rob Clark is on. Hi, Rob. I hope you're well, fella. I see already many have written what I was going to say, re bringing in team changes, but keep the experienced players as subs so we can bring them on if and when needed. Ross Thompson has said, I'm excited to be an Aberdeen supporter at the moment. I have not been able to say that for a long time. I think we will do well with Neil, but we've got to drop Roos. Sidney Cutler has said, definitely need to play a more attacking style. I would like to see Morris get a game, as I think he would create a lot of chances for Majowski. Also, I think Roos definitely needs to be dropped. He's not the keeper he was last season. He just doesn't seem confident at all in his box. His kicking has been questionable at times as well. Definitely time to give Ross Duhan a game. So, even though I predicted the team earlier and had Kelly in there, because I think Neil will pick him, I absolutely would love to see Ross Doohan get his opportunity on Saturday. Donkey Wright has said it all starts now. If we want to try a few players, no disrespect to Bonnyrigg Rose, this is the game. A chance for the manager to see what Ross Doohan brings. Take the game to Bonnyrigg. A great game to show our attacking intent for the rest of the season. Come on, you Reds, he said. Derek Beattie has said Bonnyrigg are 5 games unbeaten coming into this, including a very impressive Scottish Cup win against Falkirk, so it could be tricky. I actually don't know too much about Bonnyrigg Rose, except that Sean Connery played for them in the early 50s. If our Scottish Cup run was a Bond film, it would be Never Say Darville Again. And he says, my parents' pet spaniel is from Bonnyrigg. GW Findlater has said, it won't be easy. Bonnyrigg are a very decent outfit, but you'd expect we've got more than enough. Put out the strongest team, get them gelling and winning together, build that momentum. Never know where it could lead under Warnock. Stand free, he said. Gordon Ritchie has gone, we hopefully will go with a 4-4-2 tomorrow, play a strong team, Roos on the bench, get the game sorted and rest players, and then make changes with fringe players, and it's a free hit for Bonnyrigg. So come on you Reds. No Stenhouse Muir Darville was at both of those games. He doesn't want a third disappointment or horrible shock. Come on you Reds, says Gordon. Alex McDonald says, drop Roos and Hayes. Have Palvara and Phillips in midfield to add a bit of steel. We are too easily bullied. No game is easy, but we seem to have some mental block when it comes to games with some importance, and the Bonnyrigg one is very important. It is our one and only chance of silverware this season. Come on you Reds. Barry R. Herbertson has said, like others suggest, change of keeper and Duke given a start to boost his confidence. Play McDonald also. Build confidence in the whole team. Be more direct and let's try and score a few goals to take into the league games. And finally, Scott Bowie has said, hopefully we'll play 2 up front tomorrow in a 4-4-2 formation. Roos dropped and Duke given a chance to see if he can get his mojo back. Right. So look, your team news, and your predictions are also very interesting. I just can't help but think that if we do play 4-4-2, that I think Killian would drop into the midfield instead of playing in that hole in front of the midfield as I've predicted. And I think he would go with Esther Sokla instead of Duke. Yeah. For me, if Duke starts the game, I think he's got to play right beside Majowski and not too far over on the left-hand side. So, look, come 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, we'll know the team. So we'll see exactly what Neil Warnock has picked. It's interesting to say in his press conference today that he hinted that he might make 1 or 2 changes. So let's see what happens come 2 o'clock. All right, guys, we've done nearly 25 minutes. So thank you so much for contributing to today's pre-recorded show. I really hope you've enjoyed the show. All that's left to say is the very best of luck to Aberdeen tomorrow. Don't be complacent. Don't take it for granted. And let's get back to winning ways. Let's get a decent performance under our belt to take into the Premiership games that are coming up thick and fast as well. So enjoy your Friday. If you go to the game tomorrow, have a safe trip, have fun, and I'll see you probably on Sunday night for the review show. Take care, everybody. Stand free.